Hello everyone, welcome and welcome back yet another exciting class. Hi, I am Sneha, your bioeducator and you are watching biologypathbhavan. But before starting the class, I would like to thank my viewers who have already joined this channel and those who are new, I would request to subscribe to this channel because through this channel, your concepts will be crystal clear. So in today's class, I have came up with a mind map of class 7, nutrition in animals. I have already discussed this topic in our previous class in detail. If you want that video link, then check out my description box. Now in this chapter, we have main 3 topics, okay? Human digestive system, digestion in ruminants and digestion in unicellular organisms or amoeba. But in today's class, we will only cover the human digestive system. Rest we will discussing in our next class. So this is the part 1 of this mind map. So let's dive into the topic. So now for this topic, we will be discussing about nutrition in animals, right? Now we considered animals as heterotrophs. Now what is heterotroph? The organisms that cannot prepare their own food and dependent on others are termed as heterotrophs. And animals also a heterotroph and they perform heterotrophic mode of nutrition. So in case of nutrition in animals, the nutrition involves 5 individual steps: ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation and lastly egestion. Now what is ingestion? Ingestion means टेकिंग फूड इनसाइड आवर बॉडी. हमारे बॉडी में हम जो फूड इनटेक करते हैं उसी को बोलते हैं इंजेशन. सिंपल. नाउ आफ्टर दैट डाइजेशन टेक प्लेस. नाउ दिस इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट डेफिनेशन ऑफ दिस चैप्टर एंड यू हैव टू रिमेंबर दिस. ओके. नाउ इफ वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द डेफिनेशन ऑफ डाइजेशन, व्हाट वुड बी दैट? The digestion is a process of breakdown of complex food substances into simpler soluble ones. Now you have to understand this. The food we intake or the food we eat, within that particular food, there are lots of nutrients are present in a complex manner. Now what is nutrients? Nutrients like carbohydrate, protein, fat, vitamins, minerals, lots of nutrients are present, but they are present in a complex manner, a manner that an organism cannot utilize in their body as it is. So we have to break down that complex nutrients into simple soluble ones so that we can utilize the food and to get the energy. Okay. So the food we take in our body, this is in the form of complex manner. Now digestion is a process where this particular food will break down into simpler substances and these simpler substances will get utilized by our body easily. Okay, this is the simpler ones, right? Okay, so this is digestion. Now after digestion of the food, absorption take place. And what is absorption? When these simpler nutrients form, they will get absorbed by into our blood. जब फूड डाइजेस्ट हो जाएगा सिंपल सॉल्युबल फॉर्म्स में, that simple nutrients will get absorbed into our blood stream में चला जाएगा and this process is simply termed as absorption. Okay, so absorb nutrients into the blood. After that, these particular nutrients will transfer into different organs of our body to utilize it. This process is termed as assimilation. Now what is assimilation? ये जो nutrients हमारे blood में transfer हो गया, वो डायरेक्टली ट्रांसपोर्ट हो जाएगा हमारे डिफरेंट ऑर्गन्स में एंड वहाँ पे जाके वो एनर्जी प्रोड्यूस करेगा. बाय द हेल्प ऑफ दिस एनर्जी the organs perform their specific functions. Okay, so utilized simple nutrients by the body is termed as assimilation. Okay, lastly egestion. Now what is egestion? The rest of the undigested waste will be removed out from our body is termed as egestion. So egestion is nothing but removal of undigested waste. मतलब हम जो फूड खाते हैं वो सारे के सारे ही डाइजेस्ट नहीं हो पाता है, ठीक है, कुछ ना कुछ रह जाता है अनडाइजेस्टेड. तो द रेस्ट ऑफ द अनडाइजेस्टेड वेस्ट मटेरियल दैट बॉडी डज नॉट रिक्वायर, they will get removed out from our body and this is termed as egestion. So these are the 5 steps of nutrition and we will understand that how these 5 steps will facilitate by our digestive system. So first of all we will be talking about human digestive system. Now human digestive system is consist of 2 parts, alimentary canal and accessory glands. Okay, alimentary canal is nothing but a tube like structure, a long tube like structure which have several organs in it. It starts with the mouth and ends with the anus. Okay, accessory glands are not the part of the alimentary canal but they are present around the alimentary canal and just pour their secretion into it. It just helps in digestion, nothing else than that. They are not part of this alimentary canal. Okay, so let's see the alimentary canal. Alimentary canal starts with the buccal cavity or the mouth and they have also several organs like esophagus, stomach, small intestine and large intestine and lastly the anus. Okay, and accessory glands consist of liver, pancreas and gallbladder. Right, one by one I will tell you the all functions and the structure of this particular organ. Now let's start with the buccal cavity or the mouth. Both are the same thing. Okay, now mouth has 3 parts, teeth, tongue and salivary gland. Now first of all we have 32 teeth in an adult and we have 4 types of teeth. Firstly incisor, canine, premolar and molars, and these 4 types of teeth perform different functions. But why we have 4 kinds of teeth? Because we are omnivores, we eat both veg and non-veg kind of food, so we need these 4 types of teeth within us. Okay, so now incisors helps in cutting the food. Okay, incisors helps in cutting the food and they are present at the both jaw and the front side of the mouth. Right, canine present at the both side of the incisor and they specially tearing the food. We often see that canine are present in carnivores like lions, tigers, because they need to tear the fresh raw meat. We also have this kind of canine but in a small size. So canine helps in tearing the food. Lastly premolar and molar, these are the main teeth. They help in grinding and crushing the food. Okay, they specially helps in grinding and crushing the food, and all these 4 types of food performing their different functions to break down the food physically. Now after the break down the food physically, food is mixed with saliva by the help of the tongue. Tongue not only mixes the food with the saliva, also helps to detect the taste, because it has lots of taste bud in it. so it helps to taste the food, yummy food. जब हम लोग पिज़्ज़ा खाते हैं, जब हम लोग बर्गर खाते हैं, जब हम लोग बिरयानी खाते हैं, है ना, कितने डिलीशियस एक टेस्ट आता है. तो वो टेस्ट अगर खाने में ना आए तो खाना खा के मतलब फ़ायदा ही क्या है ना. सो टंग प्लेज अ इम्पॉर्टेंट रोल टू डिटेक्ट द टेस्ट, राइट. सो द स्लिपरी सब्सटेंस by which the broken food is mixes with is termed as saliva, and saliva secreted from the salivary gland. But why we need to mix with the food, mix the food with the saliva? Because the broken food, otherwise it will get stuck into our mouth when we swallowed it. Okay, so we need to mix this with the saliva and it will get a bolus, it will form a bolus. When broken food mixes with saliva, it form bolus. Okay, and these bolus then get swallowed into our next or the another part of our alimentary canal. So salivary glands not only secrete saliva, but it plays an important role in digestion. So here onwards inside the mouth, partial digestion occurs, or else we can say partial digestion starts. But why did I say partial digestion? Because within the saliva, an enzyme is present which is called salivary amylase. Okay, these salivary amylase helps to break down this starch into maltose. Starch is a polysaccharide and maltose is a disaccharide. Both are the carbohydrate. So we can say that here onwards the partial digestion of carbohydrate starts, not the full digestion. Again I am saying not the full digestion occurs, but the partial digestion occurs, because carbohydrate need to break down more, and this will be done in the further parts of the alimentary canal. Okay, so there are 3 pairs of salivary glands inside us. We need to remember this thing. Okay, so salivary gland not only secretes the saliva, also within the saliva we have an enzyme that is called salivary amylase. This is a very important part. This is a very important part. You need to remember this, that salivary amylase breaks down the starch into maltose, and here onwards the partial digestion of carbohydrate starts, right. So the parts of the mouth are complete here. Now the bolus that is formed inside our mouth. So how does this bolus form? Bolus form by the help of the broken food. These are the broken food which will mix with saliva and forms nothing but a bolus, that is this kind of structure. Okay, this is the bolus. Now this bolus will go to our esophagus. From here the bolus will passes down into our next part of alimentary canal, is the esophagus or the food pipe. Now once again I am saying that how does this bolus form? When the food get broken down by the help of the teeth and it mixes with the saliva, it forms bolus. Okay, this bolus then passes down into the esophagus. Now esophagus is a food pipe. Okay, from here onwards we don't really have any control on the movement of the food. Okay, because from here and from here to rest of the alimentary canal, the food move by its own. Okay, and how? The movement, by the movement of rhythmic movement of contraction and relaxations of muscles that is present within the inner lining of this alimentary canal. So esophagus, stomach, intestine, large intestine, all these parts of alimentary canal have muscles in their inner lining, and they perform a movement, that is a rhythmic contraction and relaxation, by which the food will get transferred down or passes down towards the alimentary canal, right? So the food carries down to the stomach through the peristalsis. So the rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the muscles that is present in the inner lining of the esophagus, small intestine or large intestine is termed as peristalsis. Now once the food reaches in the stomach, the food get digest again. Okay. Now stomach is nothing but a J-shaped organ. It is nothing but a J-shaped organ. It secretes three types of secretion: hydrochloric acid, mucus and the gastric juice. Now one by one I will tell you what are the functions of these particular secretions, right? Hydrochloric acid kills the microorganisms. Now the food we take or the food we eat, within the food there are lots of microorganisms are there, like viruses, bacteria comes into our stomach along with the food. So we need to destroy these bacteria and these viruses. So hydrochloric acid just destroy these bacteria and microorganisms. Okay, not only that, inside our stomach there are lots of enzymes are there that will help to digest the food particles, but they are present in inactive form. Okay, so to active that enzymes, these hydrochloric acid makes a optimum temperature or optimum condition to activate these particular enzymes. Okay, so makes the stomach acidic so that enzymes will act. So the enzymes that will present in the inside the stomach, that will get activated and then it will help in the digestion. Next is mucus. So what is the function of mucus? Mucus is helps in to protect the inner lining of the stomach. So stomach is produce acid, so it can harm the inner lining of the stomach. So to protect the inner lining, mucus is produced. Also it produces gastric juices. Now gastric juices helps in breakdown of proteins into peptones. Now what does that mean? So I have already told you that inside our mouth the partial digestion of carbohydrate starts, and from here the stomach the partial digestion of protein starts. So proteins is not break down completely, but it is broken down into semi-complex form, that is peptones. So protein is not completely digested inside the stomach, but it is slightly digested or partially digested, which is termed as peptones. So you have to remember these two things, that inside our mouth carbohydrates digestion starts partially, and inside our stomach protein digestion starts partially. Okay, not full digestion happens here. Now after that food will passes into the small intestine. Small intestine is a large tube like structure, but it is highly coiled structure. Due to highly coiled, it seems like it is a very small structure. Okay, but that's not the right thing. It is a long tube like structure, but it is highly coiled, right? Now inside the small intestine the complete digestion occurs. Here is the complete digestion occurs. But how? Small intestine secretes intestinal juice that helps in complete digestion. Okay, not only that, it also receives different secretion of accessory glands. Now I have already told you that accessory glands are not the part of the alimentary canal, but it is situated around the alimentary canal, and it is just pour in their secretion into it and helps in digestion. So first of all, we will be discussing about the liver and the pancreas, or the accessory glands. So it will very easy to clear that how inside the small intestine digestion, complete digestion take place. So for this we need to know the first accessory gland, that is the liver. Okay, liver is located at the upper right abdominal region, and it is reddish brown in color. Okay, it is reddish brown in color. Also you have to know the most important thing, that liver is the largest gland of our body. हमारे body में सबसे largest gland liver है. Okay, liver secretes bile juice. Okay, liver secretes a juice that is yellowish green in color, and it is termed as bile juice. Now the excess bile juice always stored in the gallbladder, that is this region. This region is called gallbladder. Okay, now the excess bile juice gets stored into the gallbladder. But what is the function of this bile juice? Bile juice helps in fat emulsification. Now what is the term of emulsification? Look, fat always present in a big size, is in big size. Okay, fat molecules always present in big size, but if it is present as it is, so the enzymes cannot react upon it, and it cannot breaks down into simpler substance. So fat will not get utilized by our body. So to break down the size of the fat, this bile juice will breaks down the size of the fat molecules into smaller particles. Once again I am saying, fat is not digested by the bile juice, it is just decrease the size of the fat. Okay, so bile juice does not helps in the digestion of fat, it is just reduce the fat globules size. Okay, so fat globule size is decreases, and it is termed as emulsification. Right, next is pancreas. Pancreas is also situated in the abdominal region, but behind the stomach. This is the pancreas. Okay, now pancreas is a creamy textured color, and it secretes pancreatic juice. Okay, now liver secretes the bile juice, pancreas secretes the pancreatic juice, and intestine itself secretes a intestinal juice. Now these three juices directly pours into the small intestine, not that intestinal juice, because intestinal juice is secreted from the intestine itself, but the bile juice and the pancreatic juice will get secreted inside the small intestine, and here onwards the whole complete digestion occurs by the help of these three juices. That is, first of all bile juice, second is pancreatic juice, and third is intestinal juice. Already I have told you that bile juice does not helps in the digestion of fat, it is just reduces the size of the fat molecules so that the enzymes can act upon it. Okay, by the help of pancreatic juice and intestinal juice, the complete digestion occurs inside the small intestine, and which is why I have jumped into the accessory glands from the small intestine. Okay, I hope these things are clear to all of you. Now carbohydrate breaks into simple glucose. This is the simplest nutrients of these particular forms. Carbohydrate into simple glucose, protein into amino acids, fat into fatty acid and glycerol. These are the simplest form or the version of these nutrients. Okay, and these are the simple nutrients that will be absorbed in our body. So this absorption also occurs in the small intestine. So small intestine is a very important organ in our body because lots of things are happening here. Not only complete digestion occurs, but also after digestion all the simple nutrients are also absorbed inside the small intestine. And how? Because small intestine have lots of finger like projections which is called villi. Okay, which is called villi. Now from this villi it consists of lots of blood vessels. From here, small intestine, the food will get absorbed into the blood vessels. Inside the blood vessels there are blood, and the food will get dissolved or absorbed in the blood. Okay. Now lastly, the undigested food or the unwanted food will get passes into the large intestine. This is the large intestine part, and here no digestion occurs, only absorption of water and salt happens here. Okay, also fecal matter is produced and which is stored in the rectum part of the large intestine. The fecal matter from the body will get removed out from the body through this anus. Okay, this is the last region of this alimentary canal. That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this. If you like this video, then please do like, share and subscribe to this channel, because a little support from you guys will give a lot of motivation. Stay tuned for the next class.